They found the wreck, but not the woman or her baby, only her cat, sitting by the road for days. He didn't eat. He didn't leave. He just stared into the woods. And when a deputy finally followed his gaze, what they found buried beneath the fallen tree wasn't just a miracle. It was the reason the cat waited. The crash came out of nowhere. Locals said they heard the screech of tires around 7:42 p.m., then a horrible metal crack, like the sky itself, split open. By the time the first deputy pulled up, rain had already turned the road into a thin sheet of glass. Deputy Carl Benson stepped out of his patrol truck, boots sinking slightly into the soaked gravel shoulder. He was 38, worn from years on the job, with a square jaw, military-cut hair, and the kind of steady nerves you only earn through tragedy. But even he paused at what he saw. A red Nissan was wrapped around a thick tree trunk, driver's side smashed in, hood smoking faintly. The passenger window had shattered completely, scattering glass like crystal confetti across the wet asphalt. Inside, the airbags were deployed. The seatbelts were cut. But no driver, no passenger, no blood. Just the wreck. And beside it, like he belonged there, sat a cat. Small, black and white, one ear torn at the tip, soaked to the bone, but perfectly still. His green eyes glowed strangely in the headlights. He didn't hiss, didn't run. Just sat by the edge of the ditch, tail curled neatly, blinking at Carl like he'd been waiting. Carl squatted a few feet away, flashlight lowered. "You lost too, buddy?" The cat didn't move. When backup arrived, they began their sweep. They found a ripped pink baby blanket wedged in the back seat and an empty car seat flung sideways. But no baby. No Rachel Meyer, the 27-year-old single mother registered to the vehicle. Carl's radio crackled. "Negative on visuals, no body, no heat signature." The woods swallowed sound. Rain fell harder. The cat didn't flinch. A half hour later, Rachel's older sister, Lily, pulled up in her SUV. She was 30, fierce and freckled, with fire-colored hair tied in a messy braid. She sprinted toward the wreck. "Where is she?" she demanded, voice cracking. "Where's Rachel? Where's the baby?" Carl lowered his voice. "They're not here." Lily's eyes darted toward the car seat, then to the cat. "Wait, is that—" She choked back a sob. "That's Whiskers. That's Rachel's cat. He went missing weeks ago." Carl looked at the animal again. Whiskers met his gaze, unblinking. Something about that cat made Carl's stomach turn, like he knew something no one else did. Like he was trying to show them something, and none of them were listening yet. By sunrise, the wrecked car was hauled off to the impound lot, the tow truck's hydraulics whining against the morning fog. But Whiskers, Rachel's missing cat, stayed. He didn't wander. He didn't beg. He just sat, curled near the damp spot where the car had hit the tree, like he was on guard duty. Deputy Carl Benson noticed, and so did Lily Meyer, Rachel's sister. "He's waiting for her," Lily whispered, clutching a warm cup of gas station coffee. Her fingers trembled from the cold, or the fear, probably both. For 3 full days, search teams scoured the woods. Helicopters buzzed overhead. K-9 units combed the hills. Volunteers dragged through thorn bushes and creek beds. But they kept coming back with the same thing. Nothing. No Rachel, no baby, no footprints, no clues. Carl found himself checking in on the cat. He'd leave cans of tuna by the tree. Whiskers wouldn't eat unless Carl stepped back. But he always ate, always stayed, and always looked in one direction, northeast, toward the deeper woods, toward nothing. Until Carl started following that gaze. He mentioned it casually to Lily one evening as they stood near the wreck site. "You notice how he always looks the same way?" Lily nodded. "Rachel used to say he did that when he heard things humans couldn't. said he could feel when she was sad or scared. Carl didn't believe in magic. He believed in evidence. But he did believe in instinct. So the next morning, before the official search team set out, Carl pulled on his heavy boots, zipped his department jacket, and made a choice. He followed the cat. Whiskers didn't bolt. He didn't lead like in the movies. He just walked a few feet ahead, stopped, waited, looked back, then walked a little farther, then stopped again. Carl kept going, deeper, past where the ground was still muddy from the rain, past the orange markers the search teams had placed earlier that week. 30 minutes in, he spotted something. Not large, but human. A strip of pink fabric caught on a low-hanging branch. He froze. Then he saw the drag marks, just barely visible beneath the leaves and pine needles, like someone had crawled. Someone small. His pulse kicked up. He clicked on his radio, then paused. From the thicket ahead, a sound, soft, wet, breathing. He drew his flashlight and moved slowly, parting the brush with his forearm. And there, beneath a fallen tree trunk, hidden like a fox in a den, was Rachel Meyer. Her face was bruised, her forehead caked in dried blood. Her lips were cracked from dehydration. But she was breathing. Barely. In her arms, wrapped in her coat. Her baby girl, quiet, blinking, still alive. Carl dropped to his knees in the dirt, his flashlight trembling slightly in his hand. His voice cracked over the radio. "This is Deputy Benson. I've found her. She's alive. I need paramedics now, and bring heat blankets. There's an infant, too." Rachel blinked up at him, disoriented. Her voice was barely more than a whisper. She wouldn't stop crying. I tried to find the road. Then the tree came down. I couldn't move. She was clutching her baby like her life depended on it, and maybe it had. The infant was pale but breathing, eyes wide, tiny fingers curled around a strand of her mother's hair. Then, something brushed Carl's boot. He looked down. Whiskers. The cat had followed him the whole way. Now, the little creature circled the base of the tree trunk and pawed at a patch of damp leaves and moss. Carl reached down. There, half buried in the dirt, was a small silver locket, its chain snapped. Mud crusted the engraving on the back. "Come back to me." He opened it. Inside was a photo, Rachel holding her baby, and Whiskers, curled in the crook of her arm. Carl turned to her. "You dropped this." Rachel's eyes welled up. "I didn't even realize it was gone. I wore that every day since she was born." She looked at Whiskers, now sitting a few feet away, tail wrapped neatly around his paws, just as he had on the road. "He found it. He found me." Carl didn't reply. He didn't have to. In that moment, Rachel, the baby, the cat, the locket, everything clicked. Not all guardians wear uniforms. Some have fur, and instincts no human can match. Rachel and her baby were airlifted out within the hour. The rescue team wrapped them in thermal blankets and rushed them to County General. The doctors said if Carl had arrived an hour later, hypothermia might have claimed them both. But Carl wasn't the hero in every headline. Whiskers was. Photos of the cat, sitting alertly beside the crash site, perched beside the fallen tree, resting at Rachel's feet in the hospital room, circulated everywhere. Local news called it a miracle. Animal shelters got flooded with donations. Someone started a hashtag. #Whiskers waited. But for Carl, the story wasn't about going viral. It was about why the cat never left. Rachel explained it later, once her strength returned. Sitting on her porch, baby swaddled on her lap, she looked out at the yard where Whiskers now patrolled like a soldier. "The day before the crash, I'd finally decided to move back in with Lily. Start over. I packed up the last box and called Mom. I even found Whisker's old Locket photo and put it on. I hadn't worn it in years. She smiled at the cat, now curled in the sun near the step. When I woke up under that tree, I thought I was dreaming. I saw his little face, just watching me. Every time I blacked out, I'd wake up and he was still there. Carl leaned against the railing. And the locket? Rachel touched it gently. It was my reminder that no matter how far I fell apart, I wasn't gone. I was still someone's mom. She looked down at her daughter, who cooed and batted at the sunlight. Whiskers found that too. Now, every morning, Whiskers sits by the mailbox, watching the road, waiting. Some say he's guarding Rachel. Others think he's looking for more lost souls to guide home. But Carl thinks it's something simpler, something true. Whiskers remembered where she'd been, and he made sure she didn't stay lost.